Why don't you just go ahead?
All night with my close personal friend.
I'm Greg.
And Mr. Hollyfield.
Did you get that? You got it. You got it?
Well, hello, fellow followers, and welcome to Up All Night Presents Night Crawlers right here on Fanzine. And with me tonight is a very good friend of mine, Hollyfield. You want to go by Dan or just Hollyfield?
Dan Hollyfield. Real name's Hollyfield, but Hollyfield got me kind of known in the inking world with that quick name that way.
All right, sounds good. Well, we're test running a new show tonight, as I mentioned, called Night Crawlers, presented by Up All Night with Rhonda Shear. It may stay on here. It may be on Rhonda Shear's channel eventually. We haven't worked all that out yet, but tonight we thought we'd test drive it because we're doing some stuff behind the scenes here, trying to work on some stuff here, and so tonight we're going to talk horror movie host, which has been a pretty hot topic here on my channel here lately. I don't know if you watched my video I did. I just did a history of horror host video, which I thought that was a really great video, but typically videos like that take a while to build. It's on my channel anyways. But I'm glad to have you here with me tonight, Hollyfield. So let's just jump right into this. Horror host, before we play the little video here, what are some of the horror hosts you remembered? And then we'll get into the big old conversation.
Well, I grew up originally with Rhonda, Gilbert, Elvira, Joe Bob Briggs. His Joe Bob Briggs, the last drive-in on the movie channel, was the first one I got a hold of, and then Monster Vision came later, and that one was my favorite. I still watch that one all the time. Well, my clips that I have downloaded and the clips I've got left over from my VHSs. So those are my big favorites. I like a lot of the modern people too as well.
Yeah. I remember growing up with Monster Vision, Joe Bob Briggs, and Rhonda Shear. But we do have one of our two of our first guests tonight. Speaking of horror movie hosts and people who work with them and are aspiring to be horror movie hosts, we have Angela Phoenix and Gene Poole X.
Oh, you can Gene Poole X. Hold on, let me change that. That's well, lordy, hold on. Edit name. Sorry, that's my online lingo.
Hey, we all have our online personalities.
Right.
Yeah,
that's why Hollyfield is. So
yeah, that's why I'm Fanzine.
She's a Phoenix Film.
Yeah.
Yes, a Phoenix Film. Well, welcome. I'm glad to have you guys both here. How are you guys doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Oh, I stepped on her. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you for having me tonight. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you guys here tonight, test run this show. Hopefully we'll get a crowd coming in here soon. I know Saturday night is a busy night, but it does replay very well, so don't worry about that. But since you're here, Angela, why don't you tell us what you're into right now?
So many different things. So right now I'm kind of taking over as the rebooted host for Up All Night. My full name's Angela Phoenix. I also run my own movie production company. We make short films. It's called A Phoenix Film. And so I love all of cinema. I love creating it. I love being in front of the camera, behind the camera. I really like storytelling. So that's what it's all about. So that's a little bit.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
you also make the toys, right? The little handcrafted toy I sent to Greg. I think it said A Phoenix Toys, didn't it?
Actually, believe it or not, I just thought about that. That is actually another company with her name. It's a Phoenix. It's actually called Phoenix Toys.
There you go, Greg.
Oh yeah, there's somewhere on there. But yeah,
does it say A Phoenix or just Phoenix?
Phoenix Toys. That's right, Phoenix Toys.
Trying to find it where it says Phoenix at all.
Just
that guy.
It's on the front. Yeah, Phoenix right on the front. Nice. Hey, who knows? Soon we'll have an Angela doll like this. So.
I can jiggle it and I'll be great.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's very cool. Yes. Well, Gene, to explain to everybody out there a little bit about what you do.
Well, I've been a producer for 25 years probably. I worked at HSN, which was pretty lame, but from there I went into the music industry. So back in the 90s, like, when Weezer hit and the Proclaimers and bands like Collective Soul and all that kind of stuff, I was like right in the thick of that, working down in St. Pete. We actually had like one of the largest we were like the third largest music video channel in the nation.
No, cool.
And you know, we were in Billboard magazine. We were rated, so we had about 12 million homes. And then we were kind of a hybrid of home shopping and VH1. So you could watch the videos, you could interview the guests, but you could also buy their merchandise at the same time.
Cool.
So it was kind of cool. And I think really what happened is we got bought out. Somebody embezzled a bunch of money and we got bought out, moved to Nashville. And then really what happened is we were selling albums and playing music videos. So I think really what happened is iTunes and the internet it crushed us. That was it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're selling CDs and we're playing music videos. And then all of a sudden, you know, LimeWire comes out, you got, you know, you're downloading anything on the internet. So, you know, pretty much shut that down.
Yeah.
And then I went into sports and I worked with a lot of Billy Mays, the the infomercial guy, and then OxyClean. I worked with Anthony Sullivan with OxyClean. And then I'm in a sketch group and I produce whatever anybody needs. And then when I have time, I make my own stuff. And then I help Angela. And I met her at the Spookeasy.
Awesome. That's cool. And we do have another guest joining us here. We have Laura from Midnight Rental here with us tonight. How are you doing,
Laura?
Good. How's everybody? Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you here. Thank you.
I should mention also, I work with Rhonda Shear, and I'm in charge of her vast library of stuff, and in charge of rebooting Up All Night, but also her product line and all that stuff. And so hopefully Angela and I can rope her into doing stuff because her schedule is so crazy.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. I hope you guys get that all together.
Yes.
But thank you guys for being here. And Laura, since we talked to Angela, we talked to Gene, tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm sure me and Hollifield know a lot about Midnight Rental and everything, but to everybody out there that's going to be rewatching this and joining us hopefully soon, let them know a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Laura, and I portray Lenora on Midnight Rental, which is a carryover of my character of the same name from the previous TV show I was on the CW here in Cleveland called The Big Bad B-Movie Show. But when that was canceled, Midnight Rental, I made that myself and have just been doing it independently. It takes place in a video store. I am a former both Hollywood Video and Blockbuster Video employee, but I only lasted 3 weeks at Blockbuster because it was not fun to work there. I quit and begged for my job back at Hollywood. But so yeah, Midnight Rental is just it's not a podcast. It's more of a scripted infotainment show. So I don't show full movies. I did that on the Big Bad B-Movie Show, but here I wanted to kind of update the format and make it suitable for YouTube. So I talk about lesser loved movies from the 80s and 90s that I enjoy, like Demon Wind or something.
Oh, nice.
Wonderful in an odd way that are best served with groups of friends.
Now, Dan, I watched the first episode of. This is the one with the VHS puppet.
Yes. Oh, you watched the pilot episode. That one needs a remaster, but I've gotten better with editing and
it was kind of like a Rhonda Shear version of Pee-wee's Playhouse kind of thing. Kind of like I liked it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I enjoy doing it, and it's been an honor to be on the Found Footage Festival's YouTube channel with it.
That's awesome. Nice. Well, I mean, we got a great group of people here tonight. Everybody all around. I'm loving it. And speaking of which, I did watch your Tales from the Crypt one and then Pee Wee Herman. So I got a Pee Wee Herman a VHS here and some Tales from the Crypt VHSs. So I got those.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So because I did watch that. I was watching a little bit of that earlier today with you had the Creeper on there and everything.
Oh, John Kassir.
John Kassir. Yes. Yes. So that was good. That's good. So where you guys let's go around here. And since me and Dan already talked about ours, let's start with you, Angela. Do you have any favorite horror movie hosts that you grew up watching or that you remember from local to mainstream?
I would have to say Elvira. She's, for sure a staple, especially, in the gothy type realm. And I love her style. I grew up watching a lot of like MeTV reboots and everything like that. So all the classics like Spenguli, and I've been, introduced and everything to all of Rhonda Shear stuff. And so I've dove headfirst into all of that. So I just love the whole format of essentially watching a movie while someone else is watching it with you. So it offers an interesting angle on everything. So I would have to say those.
That's cool. That's cool. Those are always the great ones. Those are always the great ones. Let's go to you, Laura. Who was some of your favorite horror hosts that you grew up with, from local to mainstream?
So I grew up without cable. So the majority of my horror host watching was on our local channels. So my era was Big Chuck and Little John. They were two men who, one was tall and one was small, not just a clever name, but they were matinee movie hosts. So they would they would show a lot of Godzilla movies, just all kinds of stuff. I got exposed to so many horror movies by way of them, edited for TV, of course. But my first exposure to a cable host was both Elvira and Rhonda Shear. My friend Jacqueline, she had cable, and her brother watched USA Up All Night, so we would sneak down in the basement and watch it with him.
Nice. That's what I was just telling Holofood here is like, myself, I grew up poor as well, so I didn't always have cable. We actually went homeless one point in time, but but I remember watching Rhonda Shear when we would have cable USA, and for the longest time I didn't know Gilbert Gottfried did Saturdays until I got older, because I was like just so I'm a guy. I've seen Rhonda on TV. So I was like, I'm watching Rhonda and Elvira. And then, of course, I would go over and watch Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs, because he's sitting there on the, like where I lived out in the country on the trailer park there with drinking beer. So I'm like, I can relate to this guy. So that was like my uncle, my dad sitting right there drinking a beer, talking about movies. So that's why. And then, of course, we had local TV shows. I do also remember Dinner and a Movie on TBS. Which was pretty fun. Yeah, that was a pretty fun show. But Gene, to you, what are some of your favorite hosts or horror movie hosts that you grew up with?
I mean, obviously, Rhonda and Gilbert were there. Usually I was out drinking, and then I would come back and kind of in a haze, I would flip the channel between MTV 120 Minutes and then Rhonda, and I would just catch random stuff. And then the same with Gilbert. I don't know if anybody knows Morgus. Do you guys know Morgus from New Orleans?
No, I don't know that one.
Okay, so look up. Morgus is iconic. He's an iconic host. He did a lot of weird stuff, and he was based in New Orleans. And just because my family's from New Orleans and I lived in New Orleans and my background's from there, he was just iconic. So he recently passed away, probably 2000 or 2022. He was iconic. And then my favorite one, who is actually fictional, but I'm going to count him, is Count Floyd. I love Count Floyd.
May he rest in peace.
Joe Flaherty, we just lost him, but he was one of my favorites, because here's the thing. He was kind of making fun of it, and they're making fun of a local TV station, but then he just kind of became associated with it. And then he was on Joe Bob later on and stuff like that. So those are the ones that kind of stand out. And there was one other guy, I believe in Indiana, I've seen some clips, and his name was Sammy Terry. Do you guys remember Sammy?
I've heard of Sammy Terry.
Yeah, look up Morgus. If you haven't seen any Morgus stuff, it's got that nice New Orleans weirdness to it. So, and of course, Sven Gould.
Yes, Sven Gould, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Terry has the greatest movie host voice I've ever heard for horror films.
Okay.
He's
definitely out there.
He is. But this is fun to see, think about those and what they give us. Like, I was just made a video talking about the history of horror movie hosts, which, Laura, you're actually in that video, thanks to Holofield there, because he gave me some clips, which I do have a video he put together for us, so I'll play here in a minute about horror movie hosts. But I was going through it, and I was just thinking about Peter Vincent as well too, from the Fright Night movies, how like the horror hosting format made such a cultural impact that Tom Holland said it would be only natural for a horror movie fan to want to go to their local horror movie host to fight a vampire.
Yes.
So I love that. I love that, how the impact that it had on Americans and like the small town people of America and stuff like that. So that was good. But real quick, we'll get to it because Holofield did put this video together for us. And so here's some horror hosts.
Hi, gang, and welcome back to to USA Up All Night.
Oh, hi. Gilbert Gottfried, USA Up All Night.
Joe Bob Briggs reminding you that the drive-in will never die.
Hello, darlings. It's me, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Dylan, this is Count Floyd saying good night.
Ghostess with the mostest, cremation mortem.
I am Sammy Daddy.
Richard, friendly neighborhood night owl with you.
Boulardi's done drunk himself handsome.
I'm Janet Takei, the mummy.
And I'm Grimgordy, the monkey.
Mr. Scary, Mr. Scary.
I like to use dirty words once in a while.
Could be somebody to rent the room now. Let me check the door. I'll be right back.
I'm Lenora, and welcome to Midnight Rental.
Who? Why, it's me, old Grandpa himself.
This week on Spenguli, prepare to meet the man from Planet X.
My name is Penna Palmer.
I'm Commander USA. This here's my pal, Lefty. Sure.
Friday night is Fright Night on Channel 8.
Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. Thanks so much for joining us.
Doctors, those of the higher order.
On Saturday Night Dead.
I'm your host, Eddie Muller, wishing you a year filled with danger, desire, darkness, and despair.
Thank you for that, Hollowfield, that nice little thing. And Angela, we may be seeing you in on that. So, you got Laura here, and you're working with Rhonda. So, talk a little about how you would like to host a horror movie show.
Oh boy, yeah. So when I met Gene at the Spookeasy, he pitched me the whole idea of being like the new host for Up All Night and everything like that, and I couldn't believe it because I was like, me, a host? I'm used to being, behind the camera and everything. But as we started, running around the streets of Ybor City and Tampa and everything, it became so much fun because you meet so many interesting people and you get to, be silly and talk to them about their favorite horror movies. I tend to lean more towards like B horror movies or the really cheesy ones because special effects are great, but I like seeing directors' creativity when they have lack of a budget because I feel that.
Yeah.
So, I love bringing people together and shining light on horror movies that might not take on, the silver screen. So that's a little bit of the vibe that I get with it. So
I like that. I mean, I think we can all relate to that. That's what I grew up like. These people have instilled in me a love of like these cheesy, schlocky exploitation drive-in horror type movies and comedies. Like it's just like that's what I love. I mean, like when people say, "What are you into?" I'm like, "I'm into this." I keep finding all these older movies and stuff like that as I go, because I'm a huge physical media collector. And that's what I do. I don't do a whole lot of streaming, and I just like, oh, this company's putting out this movie. And I think I saw that movie when I was stayed up real late as a kid, and I didn't think it was real. And then I keep finding, I'm like, I love that movie. And then I go online and I watch these clips and stuff, and I just find so much more. And it'd be so interesting to see how you cultivate your version of Up All Night with the help from Rhonda and Gene there. And it's great to see Laura too with the Midnight Rental. And by the way, I'm in Ohio. So yes. So I know about you, Laura. I know about you.
What part of Ohio are you in?
I'm in the south of Ohio at the bottom, but I know, I'm near the Reds. The
Cincinnati. And where is Over the Rhine compared to you? Or that's in Cincinnati, right?
That's in Cincinnati. It's about an hour and a half away from me.
One of my favorite bands is Over the Rhine, and they're from there. Good.
Yeah. That's awesome. But yeah, if you guys want to talk about anything, you just bring it up. I'm trying to, Gene, you want to talk about the reboot and everything? And
I think one of the things that I like now is that, when I was younger, girls were not into the same kind of stuff, right? So Angela generally loves Comic-Con and dressing up in cosplay, and I'm sure Laura does too. Whereas back in the day, Rhonda was kind of like, it was kind of an anomaly. Her and Elvira were like, you had all these other guys doing all this weird stuff and they were talking to skeletons. And then, you had Elvira with the spookiness. I kind of think with Angela, let's kind of like, we want to cross like Elvira and Rhonda with Wednesday Addams and a ninja. So that's I'm kind of thinking a more modern day version of the whole thing where it's cool to dress up in cosplay and do all that stuff. And it plays to a new audience. Whereas back in the day, Rhonda was playing the character of just a straight up bimbo, and she was just surrounded by all these other weirdos too, but she wasn't necessarily dressing up and doing that cultural thing where you're at the Comic-Con and you know the character names and you know all that kind of stuff. So I think that's kind of lends into the new version of it.
Yeah. And I got to be honest with you. I'm happy that there's like this invasion of women into the horror host genre.
Absolutely.
And yes, and then like horror movies like that. You talk to so many people now, it's like with horror movies, it's mostly women. They have really, like latched onto these movies and stuff. And I like that. I like that because it's not just a boys club anymore, which is all of us like, oh, look at her. She's so hot and everything. No, we got these women coming in here. It's like, hey, I like that stuff too. I commend Darcy from Joe Bob Briggs, who's really, she's an executive producer now on the show. She's really stepped up onto that show. And I really like that. And I like that we're getting these new voices in there and that love the horror. And we can all have a conversation about why we love these cheesy, schlocky, bad B movies. So I love that. Yeah. And I like the idea you got there. So Hollifield, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I have a question to Laura real quick.
Yeah.
What is your electrical bill after filming segments?
You mean because of
all those television?
Oh, well, it's honestly not too bad. The space that we have, it's like kind of like a warehouse would be too big. It's like a very large storage space, and it's shared. So it's not, the electrical bill's not too terrible. But yeah, I think I have 20 CRTs there. I want to find a way to connect them all.
Yeah.
So,
and Laura, where are you based out of?
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
Would you consider Cleveland the horror host capital?
It's been dubbed that by people before. It's funny. I collect old Fangorias and I have about probably like 300, but I was reading one the other day and it had an interview or an article on Ghoulardi. And it was talking about how Cleveland was kind of the horror host capital of the world. Because aside from Big Chuck and Little John, we had Superhost, who was a very big, popular host. And we also had a short-lived series called Frank and Drac, where I think that was in 1989 or 1990. And it was a Dracula character and then a monster Frankenstein character who talked like this in a really high-pitched voice. So he was a really tall Frank, but he had that voice and he scared the crap out of me as a little kid. It only lasted a year, but Drac is now Drac and Countess Carita. So if you've ever seen their stuff, I know they have stuff online. So he's continuing on the horror host.
Nice.
No, that's cool.
Thanks,
I'm looking for I just ordered the Delirium, the new Delirium magazine from Full Moon, which by the way, Benet here down at the bottom, Benet's Bloody Bits, he writes for Delirium. He just there's an article in the new Delirium about Ghoulardi, I believe.
Oh, really?
So I'm looking forward to read that. I haven't got it yet. I was wanting to have it by the show so I could bring it up, but I haven't got it yet. It's due here Monday, so I was looking forward to reading that now that you brought that up, since Fangoria and everything.
There's a good Fangoria, I think 2 Fangoria Up All Night episodes. Maybe I should dig those up and replay them.
Yeah,
it's with Linnea Quigley, I think, and Tiny Tim at some Halloween festival.
The Linnea Quigley Fangoria, that's one of the classic ones. I watch that all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where Angela goes with those interviews and stuff at the Comic Cons when you guys get that up and going. So that'll be interesting to see, because those were some of my favorites with Rhonda when she would, like you mentioned, like how she would go to these comic conventions and you felt sort of like out of place, you said, or whatever. And then like
she wasn't like, she wasn't in character or in costume. Like Angela actually goes into the LARPing ring and starts beating on a couple people.
Yeah, there's a sizzle reel where she just like cut down a guy.
Yeah. And we should show that sizzle reel whenever you want.
Yeah,
you can get a sneak preview of kind of the stuff that we've done so far.
Yeah, whenever you just bring it up and we'll play it. But this is a great conversation. I'm enjoying this. But okay, here's some. Speaking of horror movie hosts and stuff, what is a movie you remember from watching these horror movie hosts that maybe like you didn't think was a real movie, but then it turned out it was a real movie, and you kind of just like, for whatever reason is, you really just love that movie?
Okay, I'm trying to think here.
So whenever you got it, whoever's got to answer first, just speak up. And
I think it was. This was actually a Gilbert one, and I think I was half buzzed or drunk when it came on, and so it was called Polish Vampire in Burbank. Has anybody heard of
I've
that
heard
movie?
of that one. I've heard of that one.
Okay, it was. I mean, I came home, was just chilling on the couch, flipping through the channels. All of a sudden, this Polish Vampire in Burbank comes up, and it's got the title at the bottom. And I'm like, what in the hell? And of course, the special effects were incredibly cheesy, and the vampire, like the sun's coming up, and then the vampire is, burning up and dissolving, and turns into this just really fake, cheesy plastic skeleton that continues to walk. And I was like, what in the hell am I watching? This is fantastic. And I just sat there mesmerized.
Yeah, I've heard of that one with Eddie Deason. Yes, Eddie Deason.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe he was the vampire, I think, and he was the one that turned into the skeleton. And the reason for that is like something happened, and he just like walked off of the set or something. So they had to come up with a clever idea to keep the movie going without him. So they just made him a skeleton.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. So that was a crazy movie. But Laura, Angela, Hollifield, any other there's weird movies that you saw?
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be a horror host, just something maybe you saw that you just really love.
I remember seeing When a Stranger Calls, and that was a big Chuck and Little John one that they showed, and it was during the day. And even though it was during the day, I mean, now looking back on it as an adult, like the scariest part of it is the first 15 minutes, with Carol Kane and everything. Yeah. But that one scared me really bad as a kid. And Cat's Eye, I remember them saying Cat's Eye, and that was one that when you said like a movie that you didn't remember as being a movie, and then you discovered later on. That was one I had totally forgotten about until like after college, and I was like, oh, holy shit.
Yeah. I remember that because that movie freaked me out as a kid. I could not have my feet uncovered when I was in a kid, because that little troll scared the shit out of me.
Come out of the wall.
I was like lights on, feet covered up, head like this, and I was like maybe like 6-7 years old, and there's no way I would let that happen to me. But Angela, do you have a movie that you maybe remember that you really just love?
Yeah, I think most of them I blocked out because they were just so bad. But as a kid, I remember watching like a Creature Feature and things like that. Trying to think of other ones. A lot of them have been like uncovered based on like what Gene and I film. We did like a pitch for Santa versus the Devil. That one was pretty interesting. There was like a whole ballet that went into the making of that, and so many children. So that one was interesting. I'm trying to think of other ones. There was a movie called Delicatessen. I'm not quite sure if it was, necessarily someone hosted it, but I remember that coming on the screen, and that was just very strange French type movie.
I know you're a big fan of Manos Hands of Fate.
Oh yes, Manos Hands of Fate. I want to get that robe so bad and wear it out. It looks so comfortable, but
I know where you can buy one. There's this site called Fashion Brand Company, and they made the robe. It's
nice.
There you go. There you go.
Seriously, fashionbrandcompany.com. They're awesome.
That's awesome. Hollifield, you got a movie like that that just sticks in your head?
Well, I discovered Full Moon completely from Up All Night and Joe Bob, and I think I remember watching on the movie channel Joe Bob Drive-In, all the Arlene Sedaris films, like and Andy Sedaris films, Nice. And those are the movies I discovered because of actual horror hosts. Like other ones you'd seen here and there, or clips of or whatever. But those films I actually discovered and dived into the whole Full Moon, like catalog of every film that they've ever done since then.
Yes, not to brag myself, because I'm still kind of pinching myself about this, but on the latest Charles Band movie, the Blu-ray Amy, the Visitor, I got a little blurb on the back of the Blu-ray case and on their website from my review I did. So not to brag a little bit. And also I know that in the Full Moon movie, Bring Her to Me, directed by my good friend Brooks Davis. I get a shout out in the audio commentary. So I'm looking forward to hearing that when I get the Blu-ray. But not to brag, just a little humble brag.
You can brag.
Yeah, just a little brag.
Just a little.
One of the coolest things I ever did was for full moon. Okay, you know how you have at the end of the DVD or the VHS, it's like a little promo of their other movies.
Oh yeah,
I got to edit the promo for Jack Frost.
Nice.
He's full moon, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember that distinctly because I didn't know. Like, I really discovered full moon from editing that little promo. I was like, what the hell? This is great. My friend Arwen is the one that got the gig, and she's the producer. So I had to sit in there, and I remember I did a lot of sports editing. So I was editing highlights for the Lightning, the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I had to use their facility to cut this Jack Frost promo. And the coach of the Lightning came in. He's like, what in the hell are you cutting? What are you editing? But it was so cool because then I discovered full moon from that.
Yeah. Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's speaking of like movies that I vaguely remember, which I just talked about this movie as well, is like the movie School Spirit, which is just came out on a Blu-ray not too long ago, but I had this vague memory of like a ghost in a girl's shower, but not seeing anything because it was on TV. Right. And so when Shout Factory, I believe Scream Factory put it out, I was like, that's that movie. That movie is real. So I bought it and I just watched it recently, and it was just like a fun. That's the type of movie you get a pizza and some friends over, and you just have a good cheesy 80s time because it's cheesy bad 80s. Guy's a ghost walking on a girl's in the shower room, just abusing his power. Like, you would not get away with some of the stuff that guy does as a ghost to those girls in today's day and age. It's like, I don't even know how they got away with it back in the day, but it was like, that was a movie I remember. And then I do remember, I was trying to think, it just slipped my mind again. Just slipped my mind again from when I was thinking about it. Like, cause I was thinking about all these, cause I've seen so many bad B movies. Girlfriend from Hell. I remember that one. I got that one recently. But yeah, stuff like that. It's like my mind's slipping on me right now. But the stuff like that, I remember, you know, just staying up and watching these weird movies at night with my brothers. And just like when we had the chance to get cable, because that's what we would do. Because we didn't get it too often. We would stay up and let's watch Comedy Central. Let's watch USA. Let's watch wrestling. Let's watch this. Let's watch that. And so, because we never knew how long we would have it. So whenever we got it, we just would stay up at all hours of night, just watching weird stuff. Speaking of which, there's one, Date with an Angel. I remember, it's not a horror movie, but I just remembered I brought that over here. But I remember vaguely seeing that as a kid, and then now I remember it as an adult. So yeah.
That's the only reason, we grew up pretty much only 4 channels, you know, like most people, you know. But when I'd go to my grandparents on weekends, they had a black box that they bought from somebody that could get all of the pay channels, all of the pay-per-view channels. So when I was at my grandmother's on the weekends, that's where I caught like Joe Bob and Rhonda Shear and Gilbert and all the greats that way. And it was only because, you know, my grandparents were cheap and bought a cheater box.
Yeah, my parents wouldn't buy cable because TV's going to rot your brain. So I didn't grow up with cable until I had roommates after college. And then I think my roommates after college, that's all they did was they just had cable. And I was like, all of a sudden, all this stuff. I'm like, what in the hell?
That's what we did. And like, that's why I think I'm also love physical media so much, because I collect. You guys can't see it; it's over there. My whole wall is covered in Blu-rays and 4Ks, VHS and stuff. But it's like we would rent a lot because we didn't always have cable, so we would always rent a lot of movies. And then eventually, when we could afford them, we would buy them. And I just started buying and collecting what I really loved and finding those weird movies, because there's always the weird movies that were the best. Yeah, you can walk in and you can see 30 copies of, you know, Titanic or something on the shelves, but then you go to like a mom and pop and you find something like on the shelf and like My Demon Lover or something, or Invisible Maniac that Benet brought up, which was another one I remember. Like those movies are the ones that you wanted to, like, the way in the back, dusty, dirty shelves that that nobody else would rent, and you would run and rent, and the cases would scare the crap out of you, and you just close your eyes, and then maybe you'd watch them later on or something. That's the good stuff. That's what I like.
Yeah, it's funny though that you were mentioning how, a movie that you were I forget which one you mentioned, that it would never be able to get made today. It's
School Spirit.
School Spirit, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Final Exam was one I thought of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I always tell people, like, if you're looking at these movies I'm talking about for the first time, I know everyone's woke now, you just might have to be a little sleepy to enjoy them. Just, put some Vaseline on the PC lens for a minute.
Yeah, they were different time, different thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy seeing certain things in those movies, but it's a product of the time, and they're just fun.
Right.
You just watch and enjoy. I mean, yeah, it's the 80s, it was the 70s, it was the early 90s. Things were different. People didn't have the mindset they have today. Don't take you got to look at it just as entertainment, not with a modern lens.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you're not going to enjoy it then, because then everyone's going to be like, I got to cancel this movie. So, no, you don't want to do that.
I don't know if you can hear that, but I think the frat boys behind me might be hazing people. I don't know what's going on.
Speaking of School Spirit.
Yeah. We're going to make some weird-ass movie right now. I don't know.
There you go. The frat boys of the New Orleans. There you go. Frat
boys.
I'm
in Tampa right now.
Oh, Tampa, Florida. Well, even better.
Yes,
even weirder.
Yes.
Isn't Tampa home of the first Hooters?
That is true. Yes, out in Clearwater. And it's not very impressive. And
no,
also,
I've been there, yeah.
and then also it's the first Outback Steakhouse too.
That is a great twofer. That sounds like a great Saturday evening, hitting up both of those.
In fact, Tampa
Hooters and steaks.
Tampa is known as a test market because apparently our demographics match the demographics of America. So they test market everything here, and if it flies here, it's supposed to fly elsewhere. So that's why we have a lot of the first, like I think the first Carrabba's is here. It's really
awesome.
Weird. Yes, very strange. And of course we got pirates and whatever.
I mean, it's Florida. It's a fun time, right?
Yes, it's Florida is definitely weird. Look up the Sausage Castle, right, Angela?
No.
What is the Sausage Castle?
What is
the Sausage Castle?
I don't want that in your search history. You're gonna.
I had to do a shoot there, and I thought I was gonna die. I'm literally. But look up the Sausage Castle on YouTube, and this guy, he acts like he's related to Gary Busey, but he's not. His name is Mike Busey, and I'm just glad that I made it out because I got hired to do like a demo for a potential reality show, and so they had fire-eating girls. They had little people or midgets. Some of them prefer to be called midgets. They had a genie that cooked pancakes and waffles, and then it was incredible.
A lot of drugs.
Just look it up. The Sausage Castle, Florida, and you can go from there. So that's just one of the many freak shows that we have in the state.
Well, I know what I'm doing this weekend.
It's endless.
Yeah, we're gonna have looked it up. But since you brought up Gary Busey and the Sausage Capital,
okay,
I got a great clip to play real quick.
Oh, did you maybe? No,
Talk about buttered sausage. Talk about buttered sausage. Where it comes from, what it does, why is it doing what it's doing? Get it out of my face. What about buttered sausage?
That's not your jam. It's not your thing. You don't like it.
It's not my jam. I don't buy jam. I buy honey, and I kiss it on the lips.
My roommate Erica sends me that clip all the time. I love that.
It's so perfect because it really feels like that's what Gary Busey would say. Even as somebody doing like a face of him, it's just like that really feels like what Gary Busey would say.
And then you go back and you look at him and Buddy Holly, like when he was normal, and you're like, dude, what in the hell happened to you? He was up for like an award. I think he won. I don't know, a bunch of awards.
Wasn't that head injury or something?
What's that?
A head injury from a motorcycle wreck or something?
Like I hope so. That would explain it.
Yeah. But he's abuse, man. He's abuse. You can't go wrong with abuse.
Yeah.
I like him better now, to be honest.
Yeah, he's more entertaining. He's definitely more entertaining.
He's definitely funner to watch and listen to.
What if he had a horror movie show? He could be the host.
Oh, I would watch that.
I would,
I would
yes.
watch it too.
If you could put him and Tommy Wiseau together, I
Oh,
would
Tommy
watch
Wiseau.
that.
Yes.
Yes, I just watched The Room for the first time not too long ago. I believe it's going to be on Rhonda's channel sometime.
Hopefully you watched it with people, because you have to watch it with people.
No, I watched it by myself, and it was fun.
I'm sorry.
It was fun.
Oh,
I
Greg
loved the
loved
movie.
it.
I
So
loved it.
Angela interviewed Greg, and I think I sent you guys a clip at one point. So we had Greg at the Speakeasy, and I've known Greg since, I don't know, 2010. So right when it came out, they did the very first tour, and we had him in Tampa, and I've been kind of friends with him ever since. And then we had him at the Speakeasy, and it's cool and fun to see people that, obviously people are fans, and then other people that show up for the first time, and they're like, "What the hell? Why am I throwing thousands of spoons?" What? And Angela got to hang with him and interview him, and we're going to have him back again. So it was fun. But when you watch it by yourself, like I watched it by myself the first time, and I'm like, by the time you get through the third sex scene, you're like, "Oh my God, what?"
That's what I was watching.
Any further, but when there's people there to make fun of it, it goes much faster.
Well, I prefer to watch something new by myself first, even if it is something like that, so I can take it in and just so I can get my thoughts of it. So, but I mean, I know it's a bad movie. Believe me, I know it's a bad movie, but I loved it. It was so fun. And I was thinking the same thing. It was like the sex scene, sex scene. I'm like, is this going to have a plot, or what was he doing?
Yeah, and then
it was fun.
I think one of the songs on there, the singer was on American Idol at one time, and like made it to the top 10 or something, and then got cut. But I can't remember which song it is. "You Are My Rose" or something. Anyway, that guy made it on American Idol for a while.
That's crazy. But it was fun. And then I had to watch The Disaster Artist because I had never seen The Disaster Artist. So I watched that, and that's a great movie. That's a pretty good movie. Yeah. It's interesting though, like watching, comparing that, especially with, I was like just talking about like with James Franco and Tommy Wiseau, with both sort of what happened to both of these guys.
Yeah.
It was like perfect. It was perfect all around story. It goes together. But that was fun. See, where can we go? Well, yes, I did hear. Speaking of Gary Busey, Full Moon is releasing The Ginger Dead Man on Blu-ray in August for the first time. So there you go. You can see the Buse as the Ginger Dead Man for the very first time on Blu-ray.
I have a feeling you're.
That's how all good villains are made. Blood dripping into dough. That's exactly cookie dough, right? And then what is it? So it's a psycho, and the blood drips in the cookie dough. And then Jack Frost, it's a psycho, and he falls into the snow with nuclear waste. We all know the origins of this.
Yeah. Do you ever switch the movies at the video store? The two Jack Frost movies?
No, but that would be fun. Did you do that, Laura, when you were working at Hollywood?
We did have parents a couple times rent the Michael Keaton one by accident. That legitimately happened.
Oh, okay. So they were thinking they were getting the horror one, and
I'm sorry. They thought they wanted.
They wanted the Michael Keaton one,
and they got Jack Frost, and they
nice.
I remember 2 different times that happened. They were pissed.
I would think that would be a pleasant surprise for the family.
That happened with Frozen as well.
Yes.
The Adam one. Yeah,
yes, the Adam Green one and the Disney one.
What's funny about that Jack Frost thing is, I don't know, I haven't been on their site in a while, but over on Vudu, if you look up the Jack Frost horror movie, the reviews are for the Jack Frost Michael Keaton movie. So the last time I was there, I haven't checked in a while. They may have fixed it. Okay. But the last time I was there, I was looking through and I was like, this is the wrong reviews, because it's saying Jim Henson knocks it out of the park. Michael Keaton in this lovable story. Wow. And I'm like, this is not the people. Some people might read this and see this and think they're watching the Jack Frost kid for their kids, the Jack Frost movie for the kids, and they're getting a snowman plowing a girl in the bathtub with a carrot. So
we should go on and start reviewing, because there's a Rankin and Bass Jack Frost. We should go in and just adding shit about that.
Heartwarming family adventure.
Yes.
Yeah. That's insane. That's insane. But go ahead.
Maybe should we mention the comic book that Dan is working on, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I believe Laura might even actually be in that comic book soon. So,
yes, we're actually writing the technically it's done. It's just that I'm a procrastinator and I like to add more jokes the more time that goes on. But it will feature Brink Stevens, Kelly Maroney, and of course Laura's character of Lenora. Or is it
Nice.
Lorena? Lorena? Ain't it Lorena's Midnight Breast, I believe,
Yeah,
right?
that's a
Okay.
different 90s
Okay.
pop culture plot. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could take the story that way.
And we also have Angela Phoenix, the Nocturnal Ninja. And Jean May also going to be appearing in the comic, as well as I'll announce too, Greg is also going to be in a future issue as well.
I am.
Yes.
Nice.
Make me look handsome because I'm ugly. So
we'll do our best, Greg.
I always say that to people. It's just a joke. But that's awesome because I did enjoy the first 2 issues. I thought they were really great. I thought you did a great job on that all around. So I'm looking forward to what you got coming down the line with those comics, and I'm looking forward to see all these awesome people in the comic book.
I'm gonna be honest. My favorite scene in the new comic is when Doug is giving a tax driver some pennies so Carl and Emmy can make it to Rhonda's house, and it ends up being a lot of half-sucked butterscotches. So.
Oh, gotcha. The butterscotches.
I can't wait.
In and of themselves.
So just some craziness and fun.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to it.
So
It's gonna be
awesome.
fun.
Thank you again for.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Oh, we're excited.
It looks good. I love the 2 issues. Rhonda loves them. It's great.
Thank
They're
you.
good. Yes. But you know what? Let's talk about favorite video store memories. If you guys got them from just being in the video store, something you remember, just because that's something that we all sort of have the video store memory. Maybe we over romanticize it or whatever, too much nostalgia, whatever. I don't care. I love the video store. So, what's one of your favorite memories from a video store? Just renting a movie or something.
I think I've got. Well, one of them is recent because there's a new video store, retro video store in Tampa called Viper Video.
Oh, that's cool.
And I went in there and I was excited because they had Turkish Batman. And I'm like, Turkish Batman? Holy shit, how have I not seen this? And it's fantastic. It's Batman. He's running around with a gun. Makes no sense. It's amazing. And then he also has have you guys ever seen the Japanese Spider-Man?
Yes.
I'm like, what? They're just jumping around. He's like jumping around and I'm like, how did you not die making this? And then for no reason, Spider-Man turns into a robot. He turns into like a giant robot. I'm like, everything. I feel like, well, Angela just came back from Japan. So did you see any giant Transformer-like robots over there?
We saw a lot of stuff. There was a lot going on over there. But like my favorite memory from a video store was actually like in Japan because we landed in Tokyo, but then we went over to Osaka, and then they have Sin Osaka, which is the older like 80s version of Japan. So you can walk around and you feel like you're in the 80s. So they have like old arcades there. They have old video stores with all types of, paraphernalia and everything. And just the aesthetic of a video store is so cool and retro. I love the vibe over there. So
that's cool. That's cool. You gotta give it to the Japanese, man. They know how to keep that stuff alive over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Laura, I mean, you work at a video store in your videos. So.
Yeah. I guess as a kid, I think my favorite part looking back at video stores were the VHS covers that scared me.
Yeah.
Like the ones that were seared into my brain because they just spooked me. And it was definitely Cheerleader Camp. That cover, Blood Beach, where she's just screaming out of the sand. Return to Horror High, because that was like a skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
But favorite memories of working at the video store, honestly, I was a shift manager at Hollywood Video. I had no business being in charge of anything, but I never met our regional manager. So we were it just felt like working at a warehouse party. It was awesome.
This is cool. I almost got a job at Hollywood Video once. I went in, I put in an application, everything. I never got hired though. So I never got to work at a video store, but one of my favorite memories is there was this local mom and pop video store where I lived in a small town, and this little old woman ran it. It was just her and I believe her husband. We would go there every day. Eventually, she was just like, "If you're going to be in here every day, you're going to help me," because I was there all the time. So basically, I worked there without working there. I would help her. We'd stock the shelves. She would give me free movie posters, have free rentals waiting for me every day, and that was just like, it was a blast. I loved it. She was a nice little old lady too, because like one time she was giving me this poster and it had Demi Moore's striptease on the back, and she goes, "Hold on a minute." And she took a black marker and she colored out her crotch and her top.
Oh no!
And she gave me the poster because it was on the other side. I can't remember, but that was what she was giving me. What was on the other side? But I mean, I was like 12, so I get it. So, but yeah,
Well,
that's go ahead.
To your point, before Hollywood Video, before that came around, we had Movie Mart in the town I grew up in, and it was like you could rent 5 new movies for $10 and then 10 old movies for $5. Like they really did not have their profits figured out. But the store worker, he would give me movie posters when I was in like 5th grade. So then I started reselling them at school for 50 cents, and then everyone wanted them, so then I raised the price to $1.
Well, that's good marketing right there.
I've got a completely nonsensical video rental store. It doesn't even involve going into the store. Can we curse on here or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So we're near where Angela currently resides in the Palm Harbor area, outside of Tampa. There was a store. There was a video rental store, and it was called Megaflix, right? But the L and the I were like it was printed like they were together. So it looked like a U.
Okay.
And so everybody would drive by and do a double take and say, "What? Mega? What?" And it was so comical, and like the owners didn't even change it for years. It was like years, and every single person is like, "How do they not know? How do they not know that it says that?" And
they knew. It brought people in. They knew.
I mean, people would come for miles.
That's cool.
Like, what kind of place is this?
I wonder what I see if I walk in there.
And I think it must have been just a local mom and pop, because I don't know. I don't think that was a chain.
Yeah, no, I've never heard. It's like the doors that you weren't never supposed to go past at the old video stores. They just had it right out front. So just make it
right.
My video store was called Dickies, and it didn't have a back room.
Okay.
You would get to the left side as best as you could of the horror section, and you could see all those films.
There you go.
So I remember seeing a film called Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones. I still have not found that film since, to confirm that it exists, but it is in my brain, and the cover is stained into my brain. That, and right next to it was Evil Dead. So seeing the skull with the eyeballs, and so.
And then I remember Dawson's Crack was in the back. That was real. Dawson's Crack. I'm like, what?
Saving Ryan's Privates. So.
Yeah, Saving Ryan's Privates. Yes.
And of course, the favorite, Debbie Does Dallas.
Yes, of course.
That's for you, Greg.
That's a running joke on my show.
Yes.
Speaking of which, it's his fault. It's a running joke. Runner.
Yes.
That's why.
Yo, Runner Blaze.
He would come on because I do a show on Wednesday nights called the Physical Media Show, where me and my group of people we come on. Hey, this week I watched this movie and we talk about it. And Runner there, he would always like to build into his little before he turned on his camera, he would talk about, well, this week I started with me and Tom, who my co-host, we'd be like, Debbie Does Dallas, because we just kept saying, get to the point, Debbie Does Dallas. And now it's a joke. Everybody, I get sent Debbie Does Dallas memes and everything by people. It's really taken off. It's weird. But that's a fun little story there. I remember that. Go ahead.
I have a question. Where do Angela and Laura see the future of movie hosting becoming with now that you have streaming services and internet?
There you go.
To where it's not as much like a commercial interstitial type filmmaking anymore. It's more like throwing it in as a part of the film.
I that's why YouTube is great, because it allows people to make their show whatever they want it to be. I see things, if network television continues to go, traditional network television continues to go the way it is, streaming services and such. That's just, I think that format will adapt to, the horror host will adapt to whatever format is available. And it's interesting because, different services have different movie catalogs that they can show. On the show I did on the CW, like this TV station, they bought the catalog of movies that we had. So we didn't get to pick what we were doing. It was just what was in the package we had to, choose from for the season. But on YouTube, it's a little more limited. You can do public domain movies and you won't get copyright flagged. But that was why I made Midnight Rental more like where I'm going over the entire movie and then providing like behind the scenes facts and interviews and things like that. But
and deep dives like the Friday the 13th. Yes.
Yeah.
I
like that.
I think that people nowadays, they yearn for like a retro vibe. Like I see retro fashion coming back, like, even bell bottoms or FUBU jeans have been, coming back in Forever 21 and things like that. So like I even went to a record store the other day and it was packed with like young people, like kids, like adults. So I think because of how far advanced we've gone and, the whole cyber realm, people yearn for things to be old fashioned, listen to their vinyls, watch their horror host. There's also a large, short film rise or independent film artists as well as musicians. So I feel like it'll come back around and still create some sort of platform for these hosts to get their voices out there, because it has such a authentic, genuine feel. Like you could hire an AI artist to draw you a cover, or you could, invest in the talent of someone. And I feel like humanity still wants to have a general connection with people.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny you bring this up. I'm glad you brought this up, Phil, because in the in the documentary VHS Massacre 2, directed by my good friend Thomas Edward Seymour, shout out to him, he interviews Joe Bob. And this was before The Last Drive-In. And Joe Bob says he don't see himself ever doing a Monster Vision show ever again. TV's not the same. He couldn't get away with it today, like doing that.
Yeah, he's doing the same show
and
again.
now he's doing the same show. He's on season 6. So this clearly, I mean, it was right before Shudder aired. I mean, he did that interview right before, and then you look at it now. So you see that there is a want and a need for stuff like this. That there is an audience base out there for like Laura, for like Angela, for Rhonda, for these. There's a way to make it work where people will join in and watch it. And I think you can just build that up, and you can see most people are like gravitating towards that. It's like me here on my channel, because like I cover a lot of physical media, and I usually skew older on my analytics because that's older people and stuff like that. But here recently, I've gotten a lot of younger kids telling me that they're kind of fed up with the way things are, and that they've started buying DVDs, they've started buying older games, they've started doing this, and I'm like, so there is a bit of a shift. Doesn't mean that streaming's here to stay and everything, and I think it can be very beneficial to independent creators, horror hosts, physical media, and all that. It's just got to be geared in a direction to use it that way, because right now they're gearing it in another way, and they're starting to lose people.
Yeah, my friend Joe, his son is 10 years old. All he wants is VHS. He's got Joe had to buy him a VHS machine. And literally everywhere they go, he wants old VHS tapes. It's like crazy. And
Greg collects everything from VHS to Blu-ray, but I love VHS. There's just something about it, even the flickering and the bad recordings. I still watch Up All Night and Monster Vision on recordings that I have from tapes when I was 15 years old. Nice. So I just love that look. There's just something you can't duplicate with digital.
So I started buying old VHS cameras just so I could shoot that way.
That's cool. I got one. I just need a battery. I bought it at a flea market.
The battery's always the hardest part.
Mine's dead. I have to plug it into the wall.
Yes.
Battery won't hold a charge.
No. Back in the
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
they weren't lithium. I don't know what they were made out of back then.
I know it's like this big old like thing. It slides in the back of it, and I don't have it. I bought it at a thrift store. It's like, oh yeah, I haven't seen one of these in years. It's like $10. I'm buying that. It's got everything. The battery doesn't work.
I actually have the old school hand crank cameras that they used to do for home videos when they were first given to like the public for like a household to have. It's like this big, and you crank it's a little crank on it like this. It's amazing. But I can't find film. It works, but I can't find film for it.
Oh, damn.
That's the thing that's missing. I mean, you don't have those 1 hour film photo places anymore where they develop film and everything. It's like Kodachrome film and all that. You can't get it developed hardly anymore at all.
And blank VHSs are expensive too.
I know.
Even if you have a camcorder, you got to find the blank VHSs, and then you know.
It's insane. I was like, that's like I try my best because I love me some VHSs. I like this. Like this only cost me 50 cents, but there's some people that are selling these things for like $100. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Well, that's part of the fun. Part of the fun is, for me at least, finding them, affordably, inexpensively out in the wild. I don't buy expensive.
Me neither.
But yeah, that's a fun weekend thing I love doing, is going to thrift stores and seeing what magic I can find. One time we found all of the Halloweens just in a row at Goodwill for 50 cents a piece.
Nice.
It was only like a year and a half ago, and I almost fell over. I couldn't believe it.
That's cool because those like you see those people selling them online for like $1,000. Like, you want all the Halloweens? Here's 1,000. And it's like, no, I'll buy the Shout Factory 4Ks. They're cheaper. But somebody did send me the first 8 Friday the 13th movies on VHS.
Wow.
So he actually sent me all the first 9 up to Jason Goes to Hell, but Jason Goes to Hell got broken in the thing, and it like the case cracked. So if I buy a blank tape, I can switch out the reels. But like you said, the blank tapes are expensive, just as expensive now as the other tapes are. So it's insane.
Yeah, it's almost cheaper to buy a really crappy movie and record over it.
Yes.
Nobody has the VHS and cellophane that's brand new anymore. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. It's a weird time, to see that side. Because like I start thinking about how some kids today have never ever watched a VHS, a DVD, or a Blu-ray at all. Never.
Yeah.
And that's like my mind. So when I hear a young kid in my comments saying, "Hey, I'm in high school and I'm buying this now," and I'm like, thank God, it's still live somewhere. So that makes me happy.
I think some of the people are going to go back too, because the thing you're missing from the streaming is all the extras and the commentary that you used to get. So I don't know of any streaming service that has digitized the extras and they're streaming that, like, okay, some people want to watch the movie with the director's commentary, and you don't have that available any other way other than, buying that or the extra scenes that were cut. Because, when you watch it on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, I just don't even think that's available at the end of the movie.
That's that's why I was wanting to talk to you since you were on it. Is like, I know a lot of people say, I wish they would put the Rhonda stuff on Blu-ray.
Yes.
Like, people were like, it's like, we don't need to see the movie she's talking about. We want the Rhonda clips.
Yeah, they just want the Rhonda clips.
Yeah, they just want the Rhonda clips.
That's true. And I've talked to a couple companies about doing that, because now we can take some of Rhonda's stuff. And this is one of the good things about AI is we can now take an old 4x3 VHS and we can enhance it. So now it looks like it's pristine and clean. Just depends. Some of the stuff that I have that was dubbed is 360 by 280. It's not even like regular broadcast. So some of that we could at least, enhance it and get it up to SD, because some of them were just files.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. That's, you get it out there, and I guarantee there's a market for it.
Yeah.
Like and then eventually when you and Angela and all them, maybe you guys put yours on Blu-ray. Have you ever thought about putting your stuff on Blu-ray? Has any of your stuff actually been on Blu-ray? I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know. Really.
no, we're putting it on VHS and giving it all the treatment stuff. That's in the works. It's just like anything. It takes. I need like 5 more of me to get all the things. Like the idea factory never turns off, but
Tell me about it. I'm not a huge channel by any means, but I have so many ideals and so much things I'm working on and trying to get done. And it's just like I need an editor. I need this, and I can't do it all. It's just a one-man show.
That's the hardest part.
I'll try a little bit for you
for me.
Yes.
I had to learn how to edit, but out of necessity. That's why each episode has gotten better since you watched the pilot. If you skip to the most recent episode, it's a lot tighter. Yeah.
The Valentine's Day show with X-ray and everything is great. It's
thank you.
It is. Okay, well, we've gone about an hour. If you guys want to continue, we can. If not, we can close it down. If you guys, it's all up to you guys.
I've got one more person I'm going to promote.
Okay.
If you like retro people, let me see if you can see this.
Hey, I can do this.
Her name is Glitter Wave. Hold on. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, does she do like 80s?
Yes.
Yes, she's amazing.
This girl is fantastic. So she took the time to do her own version of the Up All Night intro. But her stuff is just amazing because like her whole room she loves all this 80s stuff. I think she's maybe 21. She just graduated. Her car is so retro cool. It's like a Monte Carlo or something. I don't know what it is, but like that is the coolest. Like a 1983 Monte Carlo or something weird. And then her whole room is just like this treasure trove of shit that I used to have that I don't know where it went. But I'm like, holy shit! She's got the Lips phone and all that stuff, and like it's amazing. And like I would watch her album reviews, and I'm like, she reviewed this album. Like I've never fucking heard of this band, and I know every damn band. And I ended up buying it, and it was like this. I don't know. They kind of sounded like a cross between Kaja Gugu and Mr. Mister or something. I'm like, it's the weirdest band, but I love all that weird, obscure stuff. So, she pulls up some stuff I've never heard, but follow her. Glitter Wave 80 or something like that.
All right.
That's what I love about like Pin Up Palmer, her holiday special.
Yeah.
That was just,
I watched that. That was great.
It. Yes. And Laura, retro as well. It's like Angela was saying, retro really is back. People long for better days, I think.
Yeah, we have an analog festival coming up too with all the synthwave music. So it's an analog festival. I don't know anything about it other than I saw like the flyer for it, and it's everybody with VHSs and a lot of synthwave bands. So
yeah, I love the Midnight and synthwave.
Oh, I just saw them in concert. Oh, very good, amazing.
Yes,
and I think they were genuinely shocked that they were sold out, like that, because they're from LA. Yeah. They come into Tampa and they're like, nobody's gonna come see us. And holy shit, if it was so sold out, they were like bowing to the audience, like, oh my God, you guys showed up. They were like freaked out, genuinely, that it was packed, but it was like an amazing show.
My wife calls his voice a cherub angel. So
yeah, he hits that. What is it like? Is he a tenor? He's like right in the sweet spot. Like he kind of has the voice. The guy, I always call them Fun, but is it Dot Fun? Dot Fun? The band they sing.
Oh, yeah.
Tonight we are on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
His voice is kind of like in that range, I think.
Yes.
I think he's like a tenor.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love all. I'm huge in all the retro stuff. It's like, that's all what I'm all about. And it just, I know people say you can't live in the past. Well, I'm not like living in the past. I'm just enjoying the things from the past that we don't get today. That's what
there's something that's good about like traditional like art forms. Like with us, we still hand pencil, hand ink. The only thing we can't do is color because it can't compete with modern digital coloring. So, to make it look good, you have to do digital coloring. But everything else we do, by hand because it just feels better. It just You can tell. You can tell when you look at the
You can
art.
absolutely tell.
Yeah. But this has been a great conversation. I've enjoyed talking to each and every one of you guys. It was fun to hear you guys' stories, who your favorite host was, your movies, all that. Is there anything you guys want to plug before we close it all down here? Any, Angela, Laura, Jean, Hollifield, anything you guys want to plug?
My Instagram's A Phoenix Film. Keep your eyes out for my horror movie that we just finished shooting, and I'm working on editing. It'll be called Admit 1. So it revolves around a freak show, carnival type vibe with showgirls, and it's something never done before. So,
well, that sounds cool.
And I guess if I was going to promote anything, I'm in a sketch group called Damage Control. So damagecontrolcomedy.com. Go there and you can see whatever we have.
Nice. Laura?
You can follow Midnight Rental Video on Instagram. My personal Instagram is Wimbels. And I'll be at Living Dead Weekend at the Monroeville Mall. Midnight Rental will have a table there. That is in June. Google Living Dead Weekend. And I don't have the exact date on me, but yes, that's coming up. And if anyone's going to Chiller Theater in New Jersey in 2 weeks, I'll be there as well. So
okay.
Cool. Well, once again, I thank all of you guys for being here tonight and giving us the deets on the new Up All Night and everything with the new host there. And Hollifield, you're dropping your knowledge on the comic book and who's going to be in it. And Laura, for hanging with us, and appreciate you guys and everybody out in the chat and everybody that was watching home. Thank you guys. And as we close it out, I'll leave you guys with this.
Can you say USA all night?
No, but I can watch you say it all night.